Hello, good to have you back for another Classic Films review. I hope you've taken the opportunity to check out some of the other reviews that we've posted, but more importantly, follow through and watch some of the films that we've recommended. I love all of the films that we've presented or showcased, and I think you'll love them as well. Now, with this particular review, we've taken a slight change of direction again. We've chosen a filmmaker that you're probably very, very familiar with, but we've chosen a film of his which you're probably quite unfamiliar with. The film is Alfred Hitchcock's I Confess from 1953. The screenplay for this film was adapted from a little-known French play from 1902 whose title roughly translates to Our Two Consciences. It deals with Catholic guilt, and Hitchcock, as a Catholic, felt very close to this particular subject area. One of the key writers on this film was a man by the name of George Tabori. By his own admission, he wasn't a fan of Hitchcock's style of filmmaking. However, he agreed to be involved, and he spoke to Hitchcock quite early and let him know that he wanted to shape the story in a way where it had a political message. He wanted to take a very subtle swipe at McCarthyism, because the story of this film, and in essence the story of McCarthyism, is that people are drawn into situations where they're left unable to tell the truth. Hitchcock wasn't interested in this particular idea. He was very interested in the Catholic content matter. He was interested in the drama of the story, and he had a vision for the film. He was a very visual filmmaker, and he knew how he wanted the film to look. Beyond that, he didn't want to engage in political messages. Now, Hitchcock had showed some interest in making this particular story into a film in the 1930s, around the time he read the original play script. This was, however, the film that spent the longest of any Hitchcock film in pre-production, about 8 years of development, involving 12 different writers. Hitchcock was quite infamous for doing a great deal of planning in preparation for making a film. He did a great deal of storyboarding, and he led many people to believe he knew exactly how a film was going to play out shot by shot in his head. And this need for control and this need for precision brought him into a great deal of conflict with many of the people that he worked with. Hitchcock had initially looked at actors like Van Johnson, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant and Laurence Olivier to play the lead in this particular film, but he ended up choosing Montgomery Clift, and that was where some of the problems began. Clift and Hitchcock clashed regularly. Clift was a method actor. He wasn't used to the kind of control that Hitchcock liked to put into his filmmaking. He also brought along his acting coach, a lady by the name of Maria Rostova. And he spent a lot of the film listening to his acting coach and not much time listening to Hitchcock, which I'm sure infuriated Hitchcock himself. At the time of the shoot, Montgomery Clift was struggling with a lot of personal problems. He was drinking quite heavily. He would show up to a shoot quite drunk at times or hungover. And his co-star Anne Baxter felt that they had problems interacting and engaging during their scenes, and she blamed the drinking on this. Now, despite all these particular problems, Clift was a great actor, and Hitchcock wanted to work with him again. Montgomery didn't, however, feel the same way, and they never made another film together. Now, in many ways, Montgomery Clift was the perfect choice for the role of Father Logan. He was someone struggling with his own inner demons, the same story arc through which Father Logan was going through as well. In preparation for this film, Clift actually spent a week at a Quebecois monastery, befriended a number of the monks, and actually brought one of them along to the shoot, which would have again further infuriated Hitchcock. There's an accepted wisdom that you don't want to miss the start of a Hitchcock film. A lot of action does happen very early. It sets up the rest of the story, which is very important. But in other ways, Hitchcock's later films especially are quite famous for his cameos, where he will walk into and out of a scene. And there's certainly one of those in this particular film, and keep an eye out for it nice and early. Quebec City was chosen as the location for this film by Hitchcock because it bore a fairly striking resemblance to the world of the original play. It has this wonderful old world feel to it, great medieval architecture, narrow sloping streets, stairs and steps, Again, interestingly, it was the only place in North America at the time where priests still wore cassocks. It was a film that received a number of mixed reviews. However, it was loved by the Catholic Church. They felt it was the most Catholic of Hitchcock's films, and certainly recommended it to their parishioners. However, the film did fail at the box office. The French cinema magazine Cahiers de Cinéma thinks this is the best film Hitchcock ever made. The film is also a favourite of French New Wave filmmakers. In particular, filmmaker Eric Romer calls the film a modern masterpiece. It was a film that was entered into competition in 1953 at the Cannes Film Festival as well. So if you are a Hitchcock fan, you should definitely check out this film. If you're not a Hitchcock fan, it's still a film worth watching for all the reasons I've mentioned. So what I want you to do is follow this link, go to our website. There you'll find a link to where you can watch the film online, watch it, and then when you're done, come back here, leave some comments, let us know what you thought, and then hopefully we'll see you again fairly soon for our next classic films review. See you again soon.